Alright, hello out there in Turbo Buick land. I don't typically do this very often, but here I am. Gonna give a little bit of what I'm doing here as I'm starting to tune in the Purple Power Plant. It's been a while since I've done a tune on a car from scratch. I like to use tunes that are refined and then put them in a new car and refine them for that particular car. This car, I can't do that. So I'm just going to give you a little more information on what I'm doing. I'm going to say that no, I'm not the expert. I know what's going on with the stuff, but certainly there are others that are much better. But I can get it running pretty good. So I'm going to turn the camera around and we're going to look at the. So here we have Tuner Studio, and I have it set up in Auto Tune. And Auto Tune is good. It has its place, though. You have to watch what it's doing. You want to look for tendencies and trends. Okay. Perfect example here. I haven't turned the alky on in this car yet, and why are my VE numbers 98 and 74, 99? No, that's not right. So we're gonna have to investigate that. And if I put this in 3D view, you're gonna see that this is a peak and valley VE table right now, so it's gonna require a lot of smoothing. But the red numbers are where it's pulled fuel, the blue numbers are where it's added fuel, and the black numbers is where it hasn't changed it yet. And if you look at the colors, yellow and green is the cell weighing, which shows you how often I've been in these cells. Okay, I've reset this like 3 or 4 times as I was out cruising it around. But you can see it's been a pretty cruise. It's been cruising a lot, and that's where the green is. Drive smooth, like you have an egg under the gas pedal. Don't drive through the cells too quick, because if you do, it's not gonna get a good read. And you can see the color. Blue is adding fuel, red is taking fuel away. Again, we're going to have to do in tendencies. So what's kind of cool about this is let's check this cell, see if it'll do it for me. It'll usually, there you go. So the beginning value was 83.6. It's 83.8, so it's barely changed it. But the hit count is 176 hits. Okay, and it's weighing at 83.8, and there's my target AFR right there. So that's a pretty good cell for a read for a tendency. The one next to it, if it will play nice, it's not going to play nice. There you go. You came up again. Come on, buddy. Okay, so that's 113. He's 25, so I hadn't spent a lot of time with him. 109, 21, 23, 0. And then all these are 0, 0, 0. I'll get up in here when I start running the AC. These are your idle cells. Okay, it's not going to run down here ever. These are your decel cells. I didn't get up in that one. I didn't get up in that one, so I must have done that earlier. But this is auto tune. Okay, you have to understand that you're just looking for trends, and you're going to come and adjust it yourself. So now let me show you something that needs a lot of work. We're going to check 3D view. Oh my lord, it's a peak and valley machine there. Got a lot of work to do. Lots of work to do. I haven't turned alcohol on this car yet. When I turn alcohol on in this car, it's going to drop off like a rock up in the top up here, because the alcohol is going to replace the fueling. But that's what I'm doing as far as the VE. And you can, let's see, we can go to my VE table, and you also the actual table will show you where it was. See, it took a lot of fuel away. Okay, but you got to make sure that everything is, garbage in, garbage out. So you make sure your fuel pressure is where you want it. Make sure your AFR targets are where you are on them. If I go change my AFR half a point, it's going to go mess up the stuff. So dial in your targets first. Here's my target. I won't call it dialed in, but I'll call it pretty safe. Okay, so if I start changing these around, it's going to mess with those VE numbers. So I'm going to leave that alone until I get the car relatively close. and I'm going to use this to rough it in. And because I'm driving and tuning at the same time, which is dangerous, so that's why I use auto tune. Maybe one day Danielle will be able to tune, but she's a ways away from driving. But once I get it close and get it drivable, I will get somebody to drive the car, and I will ride shotgun, and I'll start refining it. So probably this weekend, my wife and I will go on some rides, and we'll refine it in. Then we go to the gauge cluster, and you can see it's alive right now. That's just unburnt fuel left in the exhaust. Anyways, the correction, you want to keep it as close to 100 as you can. You're never going to get it to stay at 100 for very long. Anything below 100 is going to be pulling fuel. Anything adding 100 is going to be above 100 is going to be adding fuel. You don't want extremes. You don't want it running at 120, and you don't want it running at 90 or 85. It can only pull so much fuel. Generally, it's going to add more fuel than it can pull. That's all configurable. So that's probably enough to confuse people, but kind of shows you what goes on when you tune one of these cars. It's a never-ending process, depending on how picky you are. And then get some bad gas and it'll screw it up, and get the weather to change and it'll screw it up a little bit too. So you have to have that stuff all built in there, which takes a lot of time. So enjoy. Hope this helps somebody.